What is it that you want to share with us?
Well, just the other day, I was walking down the road in a small town just outside London, and a couple of guys who had just left their house, which happened to have a UKIP banner outside it, horned at me on the way past, which I can only assume was not for friendly reasons.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm also very sorry that it happened in a city, just in a place just very close to London. Because
Just outside of London, yeah.
Just outside of
in
London.
Buckinghamshire, which is
Okay.
got a different vibe to London.
Okay, that's important to mention because I have been speaking to a lot of people, and I don't think London, in central London, there have been too many incidents. That just gives you a reflection of how London itself is this melting pot of cultures and largely voted to remain in the EU. But just outside of London, in several parts of Ilford, Hounslow, Buckinghamshire, these are parts where we have seen a few cases. Have you reported this to the police at all?
No, I felt it was
Why?
too minor to report.
Okay, too trivial to report, but that's not the message that the chief of the Metropolitan Police, you're nodding, you're saying no, because they say that everything as trivial should be reported to the police, but very understandable because you probably were not very happy about what that happened, given for 20 years he's been living here. And for 20 years, he did not experience anything. But this,
Well, 28 years.
28.
Yeah.
And this, I presume, happened just after the referendum outcome.
Yeah, this was about 3 days ago.
Okay. You are a Londoner?
So, not originally, but I've lived here for about 7 years now.
Okay.
So I count myself as someone from London, yeah.
What is your state of mind at this stage? Are you worried for your job, for...
So personally, for my job, I work for a technology company that works across Europe. Actually, they're based in India, so they're from Bangalore, and I work in the London office. And for me, I rely on the fact that I have a European passport and I can work all across Europe and travel without hindrance. And so for me personally, I see this as a massive regressive step and a big risk to me, both personally, but also in a broader sense for the country.
Country, and perhaps a message that the youth is giving out, because the youth, about 75% of them voted to remain across the country, and the message from the youth is that they want a one world, free movement. What do you do for a living, and is it right to say that the youth at this stage is very concerned about the restriction on free movement, which means your job is at stake?
I suppose my job wouldn't necessarily be at stake, but there's a lot of people in my industry that come from various different European backgrounds. So
which industries then?
Well, that's in the TV industry, post production.
Media. Okay.
Yeah, like yourself.
Okay.
So skilled workers.
So the specialists are the ones who are at this stage concerned.
From my experience, but there's going to be a lot of young people from Britain and a lot of young people from Europe, all over Europe, that are going to suffer. Uncertainty
at this stage is just so freely available. You come from London yourself. What's your biggest concern? The pound has taken a hit. Is your job at stake? Are you fearing a recession?
No, for me it's not about my job or a recession or what colour I am or where I'm from or what class I am or what job I have. It's more about how I feel as a person. I've always been very proud to be British. I've always been proud to be in London. I realise London is almost a different story in itself in terms of how the voting turned out. But to me, the way the referendums turned out is very sad because I believe in universalism. I feel that the EU came from a very bad place out of the ashes of a war that where lessons were learned that it's a very good idea that governments and people should keep check on each other and make sure that no one is in a position to do horrific things to their own people. And I think we're better together, and I think that's just how I feel. It's not really an economic decision for me. I just I like being part of the EU.
Okay. What is your demand at this stage? Brexit has happened. Should there be a clear policy on free movement, on economy?
I think personally what's going to happen is that 2, 3, 4, 5 years now, maybe the stamp on our passport will change.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't have that European, flag that's the icon.
I mean, can you imagine? This is unthinkable. The logistic changes that will need to take place. Heathrow Airport, which is the second busiest in the world, has two different points of immigration where EU and non-EU passports are going to be there. So all of that will have to be
That's
changed.
Interesting. Just on that point, sorry.
Yeah.
It's what I noticed. I flew back last week from the continent. It doesn't say that. What it says is UK, EU, and non-EU. And if you go to any other country in Europe, it says EU and non-EU. And I think the biggest issue here, and something which the European and the UK politicians need to be aware of, is the last 40 years we have spoken about in the UK the European Union as an external thing. We've used it essentially as an excuse for failed local policies.
Very briefly, I know that a lot of the Indian community has voted to remain. Did your parents vote to leave? Are they okay with this referendum?
I mean, I'll meet them this afternoon and talk about it. I'm sure they're not okay with it. Obviously, they know firsthand what it means to leave your home and move somewhere else and be part of a community and try to contribute to that community and also benefit from it. And seeing this, fracture happen in the British community is a real shame, and I'm sure it's a sad situation for everyone who's migrated here.
This is the thing that for me sums the whole thing up. What do you call somebody from outside of the UK that comes to the UK? They're called an immigrant. What do you call somebody from the UK who goes somewhere else? They're called an expat. That to me sums the entire thing up.
And these are British people talking. So this is an important message to send out, that the youth at this stage, which largely very obviously voted to remain, is absolutely in a state of disbelief. Many people I spoke to are even at this stage asking for another referendum to be held. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it will, given already we're seeing a lot of movement on talks on how to carve this path, because this is uncharted territory. No country has done it before, so Britain will have to undo a lot of things and to carve its own path on how it wants to exit. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen just day after. It's going to take some time. But the big concern here clearly is that it's not just about their personal jobs. It is about the economy. It is about bringing political certainty, and it is about togetherness, because although officially Britain, your responsibility. So although Britain may actually leave the EU in a period of time, which eventually may happen, it seems that the youth still want to be together. It's your responsibility.
Not just the youth. Just anyone who actually understands the question and understands the issues would say that. I think this election, or this referendum, was based on ignorance. And you can't use ignorance as an excuse to change something as important as the EU.
Okay, all right. Divisiveness in the society, hate, speeches on hate and which incline towards racism is simply something that they have rejected. Thank you very much for joining us. Write your feedback, ooe@ndtv.com.